I am Halatack Ahmed, working for HalatackBant, and today I'm here to expose the dark truth behind World Hijab Day and its feminist deception. What was meant to be a symbol of obedience to Allah has been twisted into a spectacle used by influencers, feminists, and modernists. They call it World Hijab Day, a day where non-Muslims are encouraged to try on the hijab to see how it feels. But here's the truth they won't tell you. Hijab is not a costume, not an experiment, not a fashion trend. It's a commitment, a form of worship, a command from Allah. Yet, feminists and activists treat it like a game, wearing it for selfies, for social media clout, for a day of solidarity, and then they take it off. They wear it when it's convenient. They celebrate it when it fits their agenda. But when Muslim women are forced to remove it, silence. Where were they when France banned hijab in schools? When India denied hijabis the right to education, when women in Iran were beaten for keeping it on? They weren't there because they don't actually support hijabis. They support the idea of hijab when it suits them. But when real hijabis face discrimination, they turn away. And let's talk about modesty, the very purpose of hijab. Yet on World Hijab Day, women post pictures, strike poses, and show themselves off. Hijab is supposed to remove attention, not attract it. It's meant to humble, not glorify. So why are they making it a spectacle? Here's the reality. If you respect hijab, you don't wear it for a day and throw it away the next. If you support hijabis, you fight for their rights every day, not just when it's trending. World Hijab Day is not about hijabis. It's about feminists trying to control the narrative. But we see through the lies. Hijab is not for society, not for trends, not for approval. It is for Allah. And that is the truth they don't want you to know. But here's the real irony. World Hijab Day, a day supposed to celebrate modesty, has ironically become a day of celebration, selfies, and attention-seeking. The very thing hijab is meant to protect us from, drawing attention, has become the focal point of the day. Muslim women who wear hijab for the sake of Allah are now posting pictures, striking poses, and celebrating hijab as if it's Eid. They wear bright, flashy scarves, and the hijab that was supposed to keep them humble and shield them from the gaze of others has become just another fashion statement. The world watches, applauds, and validates this behavior. But where is the modesty in all of this? Hijab was never meant to be a spectacle. It was never meant to be something worn for others to admire, something used for social media clout. Hijab is a command from Allah, a spiritual act of worship, not a symbol for validation. But on World Hijab Day, we see women proudly showing off their hijabs, posing in front of mirrors, smiling for the camera, and hashtagging for likes. We see them treating it like it's some kind of holiday, while the true purpose of hijab is being lost. Hijab isn't about flaunting your beauty or getting attention. It's about humility and modesty. Hijab is supposed to be a shield. It's supposed to remove attention, not attract it. So, how did we get here? How did we let World Hijab Day turn into an occasion to celebrate and show off in the very thing that was meant to humble us? The worst part? This isn't just happening in the secular world. Many Muslims have bought into this too. They wear the hijab on World Hijab Day, showing it off for the camera and think they're honoring it. But the reality is they're contradicting its very essence. When we post pictures and strike poses in our hijab, we're doing the opposite of what it's meant to represent. We're turning hijab into a symbol of social media approval, feminist empowerment, and public display, instead of a quiet, humble act of worship between us and Allah. Hijab was never meant to be a trend. It was never meant to be a form of empowerment through external validation. But now, feminists have hijacked this day and used it to promote their agenda, pushing the false narrative that wearing hijab is somehow a feminist statement. But let's be clear. Hijab is not for feminism. Hijab is for Allah, and turning it into a spectacle for the world to see is not honoring it. It's disrespecting it. So when we see these influencers posting selfies, celebrating hijab like it's a party and wearing bright scarves for the world to see, we need to ask ourselves, is this modesty? Is this honoring the hijab the way Allah intended? World Hijab Day has become a trap. It's a trap that lures Muslim women into thinking they're doing something meaningful, while subtly pushing them away from the true purpose of hijab. Hijab is not about drawing attention to yourself. It's not about seeking approval from society. It's about seeking Allah's pleasure, about humbling yourself and removing yourself from the eyes of the world. And that's the truth that's being lost. To those who have stayed firm in their modesty, faith, and sincerity, who wear hijab for Allah alone and refuse to fall for trends and deception, you are the true examples of strength. May Allah bless and reward you. And to those who have been influenced by this modern narrative, who have unknowingly supported this distortion, may Allah guide you back to the truth. Hijab is not a fashion statement, not a movement, not a symbol for agendas. It is worship. It is obedience. It is for Allah alone. This has been Halatack Ahmed signing off. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.